interview with them earlier today, but they kind of declined it, which is kind of understanding considering the position they're in. They're trying to stay focused, trying to stay in the mix here, but it's tough times for them. And tough times I've been thinking at a lot of different places actually, because I'm looking at S2G and LGD, and S2G actually took third place over LGD now by a few points. That's tough. That gets a little bit scary now for LGD, and they cannot afford, neither of these two teams can afford to have any early fights happen to them where they potentially could be looking at not qualifying into the event or into the regionals, I guess, or sorry, the finals right away. They obviously have the last chance to go with.
So does that mean that you start picking them, Maxman? Maybe?
No, it's still not going to happen though.
Well, you know what, Max? If you get your predictions correctly here with the top 3 teams, we'll send you on over to the Kuala Lumpur Bangsar Hotel, where our world is your playground. But you have to get all 3 right, and you have to get the exact order right as well. So who do you... No, I'm just kidding. This is going to be too tough. And I don't
I was just going to say, can I pick it?
Nah, that ain't going to work out, I think. I do want to bring up an extra point, though. I've been looking at the overall rankings right now. One team we have barely talked about in these last 2 days has been Titan. And seeing that the teams towards that 11th position have been getting some actually pretty good results. Titan has been slowly but surely slipping down the rankings, so Titan's got to be careful. They are in a dangerous position currently.
I agree. After the strong performance in day 1, they managed to keep a consistency that's just good enough to keep them in the middle of the pack. Sure, you can rely on the fact that you're getting yourself to the survival stage, but that's not something that's going to be able to get you to qualify for PMGC Grand Finals. We need to see something a little bit more. They were very darn strong, especially on Miramar. We see them hold the edge of the zone time and time again, not against 1 or 2 squads. There would be 3 squads behind them just waiting, and they would be picking the right time to fight it. So I'm not sure what happened over the last couple of days with the Titans, maybe not picking the right fights at the right time like we've had in day 1, but it needs to change again going into the last few games.
Ever since Axer danced on stream, they haven't been performing well. Coincidence?
Oh no.
I think not.
Yeah, I think it's...
See, this is why I hate dancing. This is why I don't dance. It's just all down.
This is why I can't dance.
Yeah. You can see here top Erangel performers, Bigatron. They are far out of reach of top 3. If they want to have a chance, they need to pick it up here. They need to have, I would say, 2 chicken dinners in these last 3 matches if they want to be able to contest top 3. DRS as well, struggling a bit here, but again, they've had some really good results when it comes to Erangel. Luckily for them, there is still 2 left to go, but it's do or die time. I mean, at least for them, it's not that big of a deal in the sense of, yes, maybe you don't qualify for PMGC finals right now, but you still have the survival stage. If you're on that bubble for 11th, it's black and white for you. It's either you get into the survival stage and you continue your journey in PMGC, or you're out completely. At least for the other teams, they have that backup chance.
You want to keep the dream alive right now, Jason, clearly for some of these teams. And some teams have been putting a really, really good foot forward these first few matches, at least today, to make it in that top 11 position. So, yeah, I would still like to say anyone can make it, even though I think that when you're looking at your R8 now, emTek, I almost want to say it might be game over for them right now. But yeah, 3 more matches now is down to the wire for these teams. One mistake could be a reason why you don't make it to the next stage of PMGC. So you need to get a flawless game going on here.
Taking a look at our teams to watch here, of course, Sandstorm going with this tried and tested pick that he's been doing basically every single match. R8, oh no, it's actually Influence Chemin, so basically the same thing for him since he's picking those the most. You can see Box as well in there. Infinity, Max, man, and I8. Tell me.
Infinity, I mean, I feel like maybe I've been cursing him a little bit because I've been picking him consistently throughout these past 4 days now, and I still have that glimmer of hope that Infinity just going to have that big pop-off play like we saw them play last year in PMGC, but it just seems like a very distant memory right now, and what we're seeing right now is not the Infinity I used to know. And yeah, I still am hoping we can see a comeback from Infinity, but it might be a little bit too late. I'm not sure right now, Jason. It's a bit sad to see, though.
It might be because I'm not allowed to pick teams to watch.
Yes, also.
You need to give them the blessing, Jason. The DRS blessing has to move.
You gotta pay for that. You know, that ain't free. And, you can hit up my PayPal, the information will go up on the bottom of the stream. No, obviously it's all up to the players. No one pays me anything, don't worry. Not even for the show, I'm here for the exposure. But we're going into our 4th match, and I think pressures are starting to rise here. We've seen some hot drops happen. We've seen some change in drop locations happen looking towards like LGD. Do you think we're gonna see any early fight potentially with LGD and S2G going into this?
I think so. I mean, we've seen them hot drop against the top tier team in Influence Chemin on the Miramar map previously, so not something that would surprise me if they just straight up decide to start challenging S2G, hot dropping them and taking the fight to them. Another team that I also wouldn't be surprised in seeing them go for hot drops is maybe Box, because now they're within that threshold. They're within just a couple of points between not one, but two teams. So they have a decision to make. Which team do they focus on? Which team do they fight if that's something that they're going to do? And if they are, now's the time. 3 more games left. Now's your chance to take that chicken dinner.
Yeah.
Get yourself to the grand finals, or at least survival stage for now for Box Gaming.
I would say the only teams I would like to see maybe go for hot drop would be, as I stated, your emTeks, your R8s, because those are teams that not only need a great result, they need teams around them to do poorly. So at least you got a straight up good idea of which teams you might want to hot drop. Though if you're at the top, at least you're making it or in the survival stage or in top 3. At least you're continuing your PMGC adventure compared to teams at the bottom that might just be completely done after these next 3 matches for the entirety of the event. So for them, it's a little bit more desperate right now. If they need big points, they might go for a hot drop as like a desperate play.
Okay, well, we're going to find out if there's any hot drops happening here in the next 3 matches. We're going to send you back over to our casters for match number 4 of the day with John Allen and Blake.
Right at the end of the group, and things are starting to change. They were talking a lot about those drops success with their change. LGD having much greater time with theirs over on Miramar. Hopefully we're going to see, well, maybe we'll see a couple more changes coming through in the next couple of games.
Maybe, John. I think that we might see some hot drops, we might not. I mean, R8's already changed the position. We've already seen LGD change things up. 211 points to 213 between them and S2G. And remember, that's a $60K jump upwards into 3rd place. I mean, life is getting a bit scary for some of these teams. Madbulls, 108 points, but Box Gaming with a wonderful result that last match, up to 123 points. I was looking at the match rankings. Obviously, they went down in 4th place somehow. I mean, Bandar actually lasted out longer than him, so did 4 rivals. I mean, he had to move, and I think it was just Influence Chemin being on the complete sweep there, able to spot as many teams as possible and finding Soaz as he made his break outwards. Very, very cool stuff, though. Happy days. And I'd like to see Box make it in because they really have made a push here. And Break, with that play, I think in the next 3 matches, that'll give them something to play for. A little bit of pressure on with him able to, you know, bump up their performance. And now they have to prove to him that they deserve it.
I mean, Box, they're currently, I think, sat about 5 points behind the bubble. So they are very much playing for it against Nigama Galaxy, against the Infinity as well, who are not too much further ahead. They went down with fairly minimal points in that last game. They didn't manage to open any sort of a lead, which is really quite unfortunate considering where they were starting there. So 2 teams at risk. Box Gaming looking to take it from either of them. Madbulls, though, their point scoring time has really drawn to an end. And at this stage, I'm fairly confident in saying R8 is out of it.
Yep.
Even if they are able to get sneaky 3rd, 2nd places on the back of 1 player. But we're going into our 4th game of the day, Erangel.
I mean, you look at some of these teams down towards the bottom, and Team Queso and Madbulls both in very similar spots. Both these teams, I would say, need around about a 15-point average on the last 3 matches to see them very safe in towards that survival stage. Even so, you're still relying on Nigama Galaxy, the Infinity, to continue having the same performances we're seeing from before, which is a 1 to 2 point game apiece. And that's really the only thing that is keeping the fires burning for Team Queso and Madbulls. Box Game, on the other hand, happy days. Now it looks like they have a really good chance to continue putting coal into the fire and pumping up those points, getting up towards the top side into those survival stage brackets.
And Calcifer wants to eat hearty on this one. It's really going to need a lot of fuel to get there. Hopefully burn it down out. South Plane past Lipovka down to Quarry. Not really too dramatic for anyone at this stage. It allows for pretty much every drop spot in the game. No one really going to be cut out of it too badly. The question is, are we going to see a hot drop? Are we going to see something that we haven't seen before? Infinity, they're going to be chilling over in Milta Power. Buram in Lipovka, splitting out to Mansion on the east coast. Yasnaya, hang on a minute, Influence Chem and Bigotron there as well. On the east side, they should be pretty chill there. Not going to conflict just yet.
Yeah, a BTR, Influence Chemin, dropping in this same spot throughout the entirety of the tournament so far, sharing this one out. 4 rivals up towards Rozok. But this time around, at least Team Queso might be able to get themselves a decent match. Considering most of these circles have been over towards that western side, John, Team Queso have had a long way to run to get into some of these circles. This time around, they get a nice start to the game just to the western side of farm. This is going to make their lives a little bit easier. And with the performance we've seen from them on Erangel so far, you know, this could be a real chance for them, an opportunity. Again, though, for these bottom teams, I keep saying there is opportunities available to them, and they keep turning their noses up at them as well. So I do worry slightly, though I have a little bit more faith in Team Queso. I think a lot of times when they've been getting to the circles, they've been taking difficult fights, which is maybe not so much their fault and more because of the rotational paths they're heading into, and then two teams pinching them at the same time. I think that is just something you have to deal with. And for Team Queso, they've been caught on the wrong end of it far too many times. Madbulls go back to the tried and tested down towards Primorsk on a large split this time around, purely because they know there aren't going to be a lot of teams coming their way. Though a lot of their wins over in the championships and Western Europe came from this type of crossing from Primorsk over towards the eastern side of the map, that they will have to push through Box Gaming, who currently have really got their eyes out for Madbulls. And after that last game, I would be a little bit scared of them, maybe. Although that fight started off very, very well for Madbulls. First time in a long time we've seen a fight start off with a Madbulls knock first and not one going back their way.
Southeast circle on the shift. So Madbulls will have to leave there. Titan playing on the south coast around that bridge exit on the east side. And Silas for S2G, the closest by on farm. Hamzy, you can see him just ping up there. Will be fairly close by as well for S2G on their split, but not really going for the engagement just yet. Look at that. Put it down 65. Influence Chemin 64. Very, very tight for the top spot on Erangel here. And at the moment, you can see on the overalls, 267 for Influence Chemin, 256 for Buradam. It's really still all down to the wire and all to play for. However, at this stage, I think it's pretty unlikely that either of these two teams doesn't direct qualify, which they've got to feel pretty good about.
Yeah, they are 100% safe now, John. Influence Chemin and Buradam now both playing for pride and money, grabbing that 5k extra should they ladder up from second to first or drop from first to second. But their grand final qualification spots are secured now. I think this is one of the first times we've seen a lot of PMPLs actually throughout the year. A lot of different regions playing off in their championships as well. I think it's funnily enough that it is PMGC where we see the biggest drop-off between second and third place, with so many different teams battling out against one another. And again, there's a big drop-off between 4th to 5th place. So I would say at this point in time, there is only 4 teams in contention for that 3rd place and Grand Finals qualification spots, and that's LGD and S2G really battling out for that one. 2 points apiece between them, really down to the wire all the way to the end of the day here, John. And at the bottom of the leaderboard, Box Gaming looking to secure their position towards the survival stage. And right now it is just the Infinity and Nigama Galaxy are consistently falling down just a little bit. And right now, honestly, they should be full panic mode, you know, all alert on the battleship, because they need to start getting some consistent points on these games. And with 3 matches remaining, if you get 10 points per match, it's going to be very hard for any team but beneath you to start profiting on top of that with so little games remaining.
Time is drawing short. There are a couple more teams starting to look safe. I think we're up to 3 now that are looking pretty solid and secure to just not really have too much to move around with. Agonix8, 4 Rivals, and Titan. We'll be seeing them in the survival stages. Bigatron and DRS still have a hope of moving up, but it would be, as you say, very, very difficult to be able to achieve that. Nigama Galaxy, currently our bubble team. Not what we thought we'd be saying after their first day's performance, but right now they are heading on towards the east, coming in from the Gatka Fields, going past Pachinki, trying to swing around near Potato Hill. Looks like they're going to head continually out to that eastern side. With the circle as it is, though, it's not a lot of terrain, and it kind of accelerates this gameplay.
It does, yeah. We have quite a bit of the circle actually out towards the blue team. Queso taking heavy punishment over on that side of the map. 2 players now down, out in the open as well, and with not a lot of position to hide behind. You really are relying on these tiny little hills, tiny little shapes on the ground to stop yourself from being shot at. The rest of the team dropping in those smokes. Reyes trying to get across. Screams cannot step out for a second, but it looks like they might just be able to get these 2 players back and running. But Hamzy G, Ray Z, they don't want to let these 2 knocks go to waste. They're just sending in.
They're getting straight on into the thick of it, actually cutting off the backup here. They've moved Ayala away from this with Hamzy's position, and Hamzy can now take a forward spot whilst the rest of S2G suppresses Ayala from jumping out of these windows. Hamzy will be spotted by Papi Potro, certainly around the side. Hang on a minute, Kelsey's here. He goes for the rundown and is able to get it. Fades away through the smoke that Team Queso thought would keep them safe, but now there's no answer towards it, and he wants a little bit more as well. Papi Potro soon to fall, and Ayala's the last for Team Queso. S2G going to crash on in and not waste the time. Kelsey knocked, has a little bit of cover out in the open. Can the flush come through for Ayala, or is he going to turn his attention to the challenge from Silas? It looks like the stairs are more pressing right now. The spray down is good for another. Ayala looking to turn the tables, but it's just not enough. Hamzy is there, the warden for S2G, and locks it down. Team Queso eliminated.
All 4 players still alive for S2G, and again, yep, that is bad news for Team K. So 107 points on this match. They needed to get at least some going on this game to ensure they could get a little bit further up towards the rankings and maybe challenge out versus Box Gaming, who are very close to moving up towards into that top spot. And already Trismay finds a shot over towards S2G, but again, taking shots to quite a fearsome enemy within the lobby, and they'll return savagery with savagery. Just a little bit worried. S2G now in a position where it's open ground in front of them, and Box Gaming taking up position behind them with this backfill. Difficult times ahead now, John.
Circle is still very, very cruel. Only about 50% of it is on this mainland. And it's unlikely that it heads to the military island or towards the bridge at this stage. So we're really looking, despite it being phase 2, we're really looking at a phase 4 kind of situation for these teams, for the time being anyway. But that will mean that the next couple of phases might elongate and stretch out, be a little bit more of a lull once all of this has come to a head.
The Infinity take shots over towards the guys from Buradam, who are looking to take shots back now. A difficult team to contest with, but going to go for it anyway. In the meantime, emTek Storm take a knock from the Madbulls, who have edged their way in from that western side, looking to play along the coast. Not quite definite towards either Sosnovka or the mainland. For the time being, most teams just trying to situate themselves somewhere along the coast. The Infinity also struggling versus Buradam, but it is Influence Chemin once again playing on that northern side, coming in, looking for a more central position towards the later half of the game. Another knock comes through from Zerich. One back from Nigama Galaxy, in fact.
Chicken out in the open for emTek Storm, as the Madbulls are fighting on the west side. Looking to move up and confirm that flush. They'll get it with the rundown. Tizzy. No answer just yet. The Madbulls want to get this res as well. They should be able to do it. Should have just come through. Buradam and S2G actually having a little bit of a scrap. It's just on the south coast, just to the west of the exit to the bridge. South of farm.